So ladies and gentlemen, next, good Lord, he is the man behind Interstellar, and we have him in the flesh, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, he will be talking about the next phase of the transformation of digital. It is such an honor for me to present him. Please allow me to present the founder and CEO of Interstellar of Canada, and also the advisor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Please give him the biggest round of applause, Mr. Ernest Mbenkum.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's truly an honor to be among such incredible people. It was about 23 years ago when I was still in university that I had the honor of meeting a lot of Pakistani classmates. Most of them were engineers, computer engineering, computer science, mechanical engineering, etc. And they were really, inspiring people. And over the last 15 years, Toronto has been my home, and those of you who know Canada, Toronto, you have two other cities, Mississauga and Brampton, that are essentially Pakistani communities. So again, a lot of friends in Canada, a lot of friends in Toronto that have truly inspired me over the years. But the only thing I haven't really done was come to Pakistan. So I told some friends I was coming over. Everyone suddenly became an expert as to why I shouldn't come here. But in seeing this room, I guess there are about 728 people here. So I have about 728 reasons to come back here in the future. And with that, I'd like to say a lot of my life has been about innovation. Not just innovation for the sake of innovation, but innovation for impact. Having my roots in Africa and from an emerging economy, I felt that we, the innovators, the builders of these technologies, need to do all that we can within our power and our resources to make these technologies available to people. Roughly 10 years ago, I was fortunate to come across a new technology called blockchain. At the time, we only had something called Bitcoin that everybody knows today. Together with a few friends, we came together in Toronto and came up with something that is today known as Ethereum, that was mentioned before. But that wasn't enough for me. I kept thinking about how do we get this technology to 1 billion people? How do we make it accessible to everyone? And that kept disturbing me. And throughout the last 10 years, my journey has led me most recently to the United Nations in June, where I was one of the panelists and keynote speakers at the Blockchain for Impact Summit. And some of you might be aware of what is called basically the Sustainable Development Goals. There are actually 17 of them. But of those 17, we picked just one. And that one basically is the goal number 9, which focuses on 3 pillars: industry, innovation, industrialization, and interstellar, but I'll go back and focus on the first 3. And basically, it's about building resilient infrastructure that promotes inclusive and sustainable industrialization and ends up fostering innovation. And why do we do this? Earlier this morning, I listened to very important speeches, and a lot of this had to do with perception, Pakistan. You have everything here, but why is it going into a deficit? What can be used to transform your economies? What else can you do? Because I believe it was the great Einstein who said that you cannot solve the problems using the same mindset that created those problems. So what do we do to transform our societies? What do we do to address these issues? And so we have in our hands today some very unique technologies. We've heard of blockchain, artificial intelligence. These are all pillars of the 4th Industrial Revolution. This is the first time that emerging markets have a very unique opportunity to leapfrog. We don't have to spend 30 years and trillions of dollars like China to get to where they are today. We can do that in 5 years or 10 years if we can truly adopt these technologies and use them effectively. And one of the key things in this, when people look at blockchain, I talk about the internet of trust because it is very hard. We have negative perceptions when you talk about the emerging markets, Pakistan or Nigeria, all these countries. But when you can use technologies that are trustless, so I don't need to trust you, but I know I can get my service delivered, make payments that are delivered without any restrictions, then we can begin to leapfrog. And with that, I basically dive into what Interstellar is. So the platform is designed, it's a blockchain-based application that allows you to securely transfer, swap, trade, manage any digital asset, anything. If it's money, if it's coupons, if it's vouchers, pretty much anything that you could digitize, which is almost everything today. And I'll come to that with some examples. But at the heart of our technology, we have some key features. The first one is interoperability, which is the ability to bring all of these assets into one unified platform. So you don't have to go to 10 different places to access these assets. We bring them into one platform that you have in your wallet, and within that wallet, you can trade, you can swap, you can transfer. The second technology we have is called Pathfinder, because we believe, as my peers here know, we started with Bitcoin. Now we have more than 3,000 cryptocurrencies. We have more than 200,000 assets only on the Ethereum blockchain. On the Stellar blockchain, we have more than 6,200. Now imagine when each and every one of us here can now have an asset that is tokenized. How do you manage that? So imagine how the internet looked like before Google came. Now you can go to Google, type, and you can find everything through the PageRank algorithm and Panda and the rest that they've developed. So our second unique technology is called Pathfinder. So once all these assets are brought together, how can I trade my T tokens for my Rise tokens? How can I trade my air ticket tokens for my taxi tokens? Understand, I'm not talking about exchanging money, fiat, dollars or rupees. These are digitized assets. Now, the third technology we developed is called Multi-Sig Pro, or multi-signatures. So those of you who work in corporations know that you have a hierarchy, and sometimes you need to make transactions, and those transactions require 5 or 6 people to sign. But what if all of you are in different parts of the world? Some flying on an airplane. How do you do that? So we developed technology that allows companies to basically sign these documents on the blockchain, an unlimited number of documents in any order. And we see this as very important for banks, for family offices, for legacy planning, even individual families. If you're sharing your wallet with your son or your daughter, and they decide to buy those $300 pair of shoes, well, mom and dad need to sign for that as well. So this technology allows you to do that, but you don't have to be physically present. The other thing we did as well was to put KYC and AML on the blockchain. So as you know, last year there was a major hack at Equifax in the US. A lot of addresses and personal information were compromised. This year we heard about Capital One as well, was hacked, because this data is centralized. Within our platform, this information is not owned by us, it is owned by you, the user. It is encrypted with your private keys. We don't hold those keys, because our platform is a non-custodial platform. I don't want to be responsible for holding your data. Freedom is responsibility. If you want that power, you have to be responsible for that power. And so part of what we do is that this data is held on the blockchain, but only you have access to it. You decide who you wish to share that data with. So it's almost inverting the pyramid, where you have, instead of paying credit scoring companies, they have to now pay you. So we're kind of flipping the whole paradigm on its head. And finally, we have a decentralized exchange. So when all these tokens are all out there, we can all go and trade, because there's nothing stopping my grandmother or you to go online and trade. You don't need to be licensed or certified because everybody has a minimum amount of common sense. I don't need to have a PhD in agriculture to know how to buy rice or tea in the market. And the other thing why we looked at this tokenizing assets is because early on, we felt that most people would never understand things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest. But they understood things like tea, milk, electric bills. And if we could tokenize those, then it would really allow them to interact. So one of the unique features, again, about our platform is that we have real-time settlement transactions, about 2 to 5 seconds, and everything is cryptographically secure. We can do more than 300,000 transactions for less than a rupee. And basically, between 10,000 to 20,000 transactions per second. Now, who are we serving? We are currently in about 142 countries, and we are looking at partnerships with banks, microfinance institutions, remittance companies, businesses or organizations that would like to tokenize their assets, and basically loyalty point providers. Now, some of the things I'm going to say here might sound strange and crazy, but it's already happening. And I'll talk about some examples, how we used our technology. The first example is a company called GiveDirect, the first blockchain-based organization aimed at reducing global poverty. So, you know what happens when they raise $10 million for a hurricane in Haiti. But by the time you get there, it's only $100,000. Where did the rest go to? You can't trace it. So, this company came to us and asked us to help them. And we did this pro bono for them. What did we do? So they received donations in tokens on blockchain. But they cannot trade these tokens because these tokens don't exist on the big exchanges. They are not able to pay the listing fees. So when they receive the T tokens, the gold tokens, the silver tokens, whatever, they bring it to our platform. They use Pathfinder to swap. And then when they are making the payments, they basically have 6 out of 10 of the advisors all over the world who look at the beneficiaries. One use case was 35 families in Ghana. So when they look at the applications, they vote independently who should get the aid. So it is transparent, it cannot be corrupted, and when the funds are released, they use our platform to convert to maybe a stable coin. Again, these are tokenized national currencies like the Cedi or the Rupee. And they have an anchor, a partner in Ghana, Accra, who basically now receives that money because all of these 6 people have signed. Now, the beneficiaries are 35 families. They now show up to receive their money. But Michael can't come in and claim to be Ernest. So they wear bracelets. NFC bracelets, near-field communications that are linked to their biometrics. And they come and they scan, and they receive their money. This guarantees 100% delivery. You could sit here in Pakistan and donate money to this platform, and you see exactly where your money went to. Another example is the Diruna community in Indonesia. These are traders, like people you see on the streets, struggling, selling. We didn't know, within the space of a year, they grew to over 1 million users. And they used our platform to create a token to build loyalty amongst themselves. And they've been using this platform now for close to 2 years. Again, this is something that was enabled because of our platform. We have the FRAS token in Indonesia. You've all heard of Uber, the transport company. So not everybody can buy a car. So 10 families come together, they buy a car, put it on Uber, and not Uber, but this platform called FRAS, and they tokenize it. So each time revenue comes from the rides, it's not going to Uber, it's going to these families. But individually, they could not buy a car, but collectively, with this tokenized platform, they could do that. Another example we have, we were approached by the SEC in Nigeria, the Securities and Exchange Commission, about a commodities exchange. Agriculture was talked about here before. How do we tokenize all these agricultural products? How do we bring them, trade them, and exchange them? Why can't I sit in Nigeria and buy some agricultural products from Pakistan? Blockchain does that today for us. Now, one of the last examples I'll give here is electricity. Paying bills in Sierra Leone, Freetown. So people have to walk for miles to go and pay electricity. Right now, they have smart meters. These smart meters now can send their bills to them. Now, to give them the incentive, they are issued tokens to pay. Now, what is more interesting is that many of these families have friends in Europe and North America. So when they call their cousin to pay their bill, the cousin can simply go online, see it on the app, buy the token, and pay their bill without having to fly all the way there or worry about going to Western Union to do that. And I'll ask a question here. How many medical doctors do we have here present? Any? Medical doctors? Okay, we have one. There you go. So, the medical doctor, for example, could tokenize himself or herself. Of course, health is our wealth. But that doctor needs to build a bigger practice. He needs to get more equipment. He can't get a loan because either lack of a credit scoring system or doesn't meet the standards. But that doctor has been in the community for 20 years. That doctor is trusted by the community. That doctor can tokenize himself or herself and say, I'm issuing $1 million in rupees to this community called maybe Faisal Care, for example, and the community would buy those tokens. But we're not all going to get ill the same day. But they know that when they are sick, they can go and see that doctor and cash out those tokens and get that care. So that doctor is able to raise money, crowdfunding, but using tokens. Those tokens can be traded with somebody in Toronto who wants to live there or in the US and come here for medical tourism. You see. So the examples are endless. This is not rocket science. This is happening now. We've won many awards. Last year, we won the award for Best Digital Innovation in Africa. We also won the award for Best Blockchain Technology in Cape Town. And I'm really, really, really super excited to be here in Pakistan because we see the greatest potential in emerging markets. And just listening to the amazing speakers today, I see that it was by far one of my greatest, I think, trips in my life, coming here, and I have no regrets about it. I look forward to returning here to meet all of you, and we are looking forward into partnering with, companies, groups, entities here, and looking forward to adding value and really contributing to making this technology truly available, addressing issues of financial inclusion. And in closing, there's something I always like to say. There are 3 types of people in the world. Those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wonder what the hell happened. So I believe that everyone here is part of the group that makes things happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ernest Mbenkum, for the excellent and very interactive presentation.